Welcome to a new video. It's been a while. So, allow me to give you the key to unlock the door of your dreams to your dreams. Well, both are accurate, I guess. Anyways, let's get into the video. So, there is one of two things you are probably doing wrong if you are constantly suffering. No, I mean, if you're constantly in total misery, like it's not just for a moment, because anyone can suffer for a moment, and there are tons of reasons to suffer and tons of reasons to be sad, tons of reasons to, fall into the deep pits of despair. And, no one can blame you for that. Everyone falls there sometimes. Pretty much, I guess. Now, if you stay in the pits of despair for a very long time, you are really doing one of two things wrong. One is your mindset is total crap, or potentially your actions are wrong. Which means that you are doing something wrong and you have to acknowledge it. The people who can acknowledge that they are doing something wrong are the people who can do something to change it. And the people who will not acknowledge that they are doing something wrong or could do something better will continuously suffer in that pit of despair until they actually acknowledge it and do something about it. It's one of the ways that the world works. Some people get really lucky though. But besides that, generally speaking, maybe your mindset is good, but your actions are terrible. Maybe your actions are good, but your mindset is terrible. You can lose track of all sorts of things. Generally, both of the things are wrong if you are truly suffering. Now, maybe the reason you're suffering is because you're surrounded by a lot of terrible people. Obviously, it is not your fault for maybe being in that situation in the first place. Sometimes you cannot help the situation you may be in, or, well, sometimes you cannot. But from that point on, if you know something is wrong, you can change it. Now, if you, in your mind, think, I want to be a great person. Maybe you're thinking, I want to be a great woman or a great man. Maybe you'll be thinking, I want to be like a saint. I want to be a great woman like a saint. How do I behave to become like that? And then you just, little by little, improve every day. And then when you fail, you change your mindset maybe a little. You're like, or you can, well, you still continue rising. You don't let it break you down, but you might adjust things a bit to then further increase, further climb. Well, that's what I would like for people to be able to do. And you gotta follow your own dreams, because in the end, your life is no one else's life. It's not my life. So it doesn't matter what other people think. If your dream is to become a musician and that's what makes you feel at peace, playing the guitar or a piano or whatever, maybe you play in the streets, maybe if you continue doing that every single day, it doesn't really matter if you become homeless or whatever, generally speaking. I mean, you may have whatever thoughts about that you have, and other people may have whatever thoughts that they have about that, but if you feel at peace in your heart, you feel that warm feeling, you feel like you like yourself, you like the way you're living your life. Maybe some things are tough, maybe some things you'd like to change, but you're generally happy with who you are and what you're doing without ruining anyone else's life. To me, you're not a failure, you're a success. And that is something that I have huge huge respect for. Now, if you are constantly suffering, you are the one doing something wrong, generally speaking. So, you have the power to change everything, okay? And it is your heart that you need to follow in order to change things and get the life that you want to get. I don't know what your dreams are. I don't know what it is that makes you feel alive. But of course, I would love for everyone to be able to find what it is that makes them tick, what it is that you feel is valuable to you, and be honest to it and be honest to others too. I advise that too, because the more honest you are to yourself and to others, the more honesty you will also receive, and the more honest the relationships you create will be. Because You might think you're, worthless as you are now. Some people will think that. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Regardless of that, if you are being honest, there are some people who will still stick by you despite that, because you're honest. And the cool thing is, even if you are, trash, you can still polish yourself to become polished trash. And eventually, you can find some pretty interesting materials, some pretty valuable materials, even within the trash. And you can rebuild yourself, As some of the great Greeks said, a man is his own sculpture and the sculptor. You choose how you sculpt yourself, which is pretty interesting, right? You can become truly strong, truly powerful, truly kind, you can get better in all sorts of ways in life. There aren't heights that you can't really surpass, potentially. I mean, anything that is within the realms of nature is realistically attainable for most people. You can become good at running. You can become good at talking to people. It doesn't matter if you have autism or ADHD. You can become good at so many different things in life. If you put the work and the effort into it, you can go from having extreme social anxiety like I did, barely being able to order at McDonald's, to being able to talk to hundreds or thousands of people in a day. You have the potential to become physically magnificent, mentally magnificent, socially magnificent. You have the potential to become something near a saint, if that is what you wish to be. Whatever dream you may have, generally it's achievable. And I'll pray for, Godspeed to you, if that is the path you're on, the path of self-improvement. But first, you must acknowledge that if you are feeling terrible, you are, generally speaking, as a extended period of time, you are doing something wrong. You have put yourself into a situation, or you are in a situation, and you should probably do something, because generally you have two choices, action or inaction in that regard. And sometimes inaction is a choice that you are making. Action is also a choice you're making. And generally speaking, if you feel peace in your heart, genuinely, that means you're probably doing something right. If it's not, one of those temporary things, but a more general, long-term peace in your heart. Don't take substances to feel better. I really advise against that, because in the end, things are just going to get worse, and it's a lie. You should probably, if you want a good life that is sustainable, you ought to live by the truth. And I mean that in all sorts of regards. Because the closer you live to honesty, it says itself. That means that you will be an actual human being. That means you will actually be you. You will be an individual in civilization. If you're not honest, the real you doesn't really exist, right? Because you need honesty to be real, right? And people will, whatever your dreams, maybe your dream is to find true love. Well, if you work on yourself, you change your mindset, you change to a better mindset, you actually get and maintain the discipline to do the things you need to do to become great. Well, true love is possible. If you're a man, you're my dream is to become super duper great and to have a bunch of women by my side. I want the harem. The amount of things you need to achieve to get to that level. Maybe your goals and your dreams will eventually change, but maybe that is your dream, and maybe that's what makes your life meaningful or whatever. Then I think that's achievable. Now, you gotta be smart about it. Many people will just say, oh no, but you're delusional. But, when there are people in this world who have done it, people who are currently doing it, people who have accomplished it, it's not really delusional. Because that has proven that it is humanly possible. Now, is it difficult? Yes, there are tons of things. And just because something is difficult doesn't mean it's worth it. But in the end, whatever your dreams are, as long as you're not going out and hurting someone else, follow your dreams and what your heart truly says. The thing that is genuinely right to do. Don't ruin other people's lives. Don't sabotage yourself. Or actually, in the end, you can do whatever it is you want. Honestly, I'm not even gonna ask you to like the video or subscribe because you don't need to. If this has given you anything good or whatever, if you've been able to do something good out of this video, or maybe you want to ask for some advice or whatever, whatever. That's up to you. For me, if it helps you, that's great. You don't need to give me anything. You don't need to donate anything. You don't need to like, you don't need to subscribe, you don't need to comment. Just, the best thing that you can do is to better yourself, because in the end the world will become a better place. Why will the world become a better place? Well, in all sorts of self-improvement, the brighter you shine, the more light there will be in other people's eyes. Like, they'll be able to see more light. Because, well, the thing is, if you see more light around you, life becomes brighter. And when life becomes brighter, we accept less of the dark, ruining that light. It becomes more evident and we become more able to act. The stronger we get, and if we see someone accomplishing something, a lot of people look up to people like, let's say, David Goggins, for example, because he is an insane individual that has accomplished extreme things. The cool thing about that is that some people, because of his accomplishments, some people have accomplished so much more. And that's beautiful, isn't it? If you have someone leading the way, if you have someone giving light, giving love, giving the thing that you need to build yourself up, and you see that it's possible. If you see true love in the world, you see that it's possible. You see like, oh, that's something I can maybe reach, attain. That makes life worth living. And, well, the only ways to get some of the greatest things in life is to improve yourself and become worthy of those things. I mean, in the end, you can do whatever you want with your life. Whether you want to live a life that lasts a year but is full of joy or whatever you want to call it, or you want to live a life that is full of misery for the rest of your life and then regret everything, in the end, that's up to you. But I wish you the best. Good luck. Take care. And know that even you can make a difference. Right. Cheers.